History of the Red Baron Manfred von Richthofen. In the brutal skies of World War I, a crimson-painted triplane struck fear into the hearts of Allied pilots. Its pilot, Manfred von Richthofen, would become the most famous fighter ace of the war, known simply as the Red Baron. But who was this young man behind the legend? How did he rise to become the most feared pilot of his time, and what ultimately led to his tragic death? This is the story of Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron. Early life and childhood. Manfred Albrecht Freiherr von Richthofen was born on May 2, 1892, in Breslau, a city in Prussia, which is today known as Wrocław, Poland. He was born into a family of minor Prussian nobility and was the eldest of 4 children. His father, Major Albrecht von Richthofen, was a career military officer who instilled in Manfred and his siblings the values of discipline, patriotism, and honor. Growing up in a well-to-do family, Manfred enjoyed a childhood filled with outdoor activities, like hunting and riding, both of which would later influence his skills as a fighter pilot. From a young age, Richthofen had a strong sense of adventure and a passion for physical activities. But did he have an interest in planes back then? Hardly. In fact, as a boy, Manfred's ambition was to join the cavalry, as airplanes were still in their infancy, and few could have imagined that they would soon revolutionize warfare. At the age of 11, Manfred was sent to a military school in Wallstadt, where he trained to follow in his father's footsteps. He initially joined the Prussian Army's 1st Uhlan Cavalry Regiment, known for its proud cavalry traditions. Richthofen was eager to become a part of Germany's distinguished military. By 1914, he was a commissioned officer and ready to serve when World War I broke out. However, trench warfare rendered traditional cavalry units almost useless, and Richthofen quickly found himself frustrated with his lack of action. It was during this time that he noticed how aerial warfare was beginning to play a significant role on the battlefield. Intrigued, he decided to request a transfer to the Imperial German Air Service in 1915, initially serving as an observer in reconnaissance missions. Despite having no particular interest in planes as a child, he was drawn to the excitement and prestige of aviation. After experiencing the thrill of flying firsthand, Richthofen decided to train as a pilot. In 1916, he officially earned his wings and joined a fighter squadron under the legendary German ace Oswald Bolk, who would become his mentor. Becoming the Red Baron. Why he was so effective in combat. Under Bolk's guidance, Richthofen began developing his approach to aerial combat, marked by discipline, patience, and precision. He soon emerged as one of Germany's most formidable pilots. Bolk taught him tactics that focused on positioning, patience, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike, a philosophy that Richthofen absorbed completely. One of Richthofen's greatest skills was his calculated, almost methodical approach to combat. He was known for his patience, his ability to wait for the ideal opportunity to attack, and his keen eye for precision. Richthofen emphasized staying behind and above his targets, diving down at the last moment for a swift, precise attack. His natural skills in marksmanship, learned from years of hunting with his family, helped him become a deadly pilot who rarely missed his target. He would go on to paint his plane a striking red, a bold choice that earned him the nickname the Red Baron and struck fear into the hearts of Allied pilots who saw his brightly colored Fokker I triplane approaching. Throughout his career, Richthofen achieved 80 confirmed aerial victories, making him the most successful fighter pilot of World War I. He quickly became a national hero in Germany, admired for his skill and seen as a symbol of Germany's strength in the air. Personal life and family. Despite his fame, Richthofen was a private man, focused intensely on his role as a fighter pilot. He never married and had no children. His younger brother, Lothar von Richthofen, also served as a pilot and became a skilled aviator, though he was less reserved and more daring than Manfred. The two were close and shared a strong bond, often writing letters to each other between missions. Outside of flying, Richthofen was known for his love of hunting and the company of his loyal pet dog, Moritz, who often accompanied him at the airfields. He kept his focus on the skies, and much of his life revolved around his squadron and the camaraderie among his fellow pilots. The final flight, what led to his death? As the war progressed, Richthofen continued to push himself despite the growing fatigue and dangers. In July 1917, he was seriously injured by a gunshot wound to the head, which left him with symptoms of dizziness and nausea that plagued him for months. His doctors advised him to take a break, but the Red Baron was determined to keep flying, driven by his loyalty to his squadron and country. On April 21, 1918, Richthofen took off on what would become his final mission. He was chasing a British Sopwith camel near the Somme River when he was hit by a single bullet that passed through his chest. Despite his injuries, he managed to bring his plane down safely behind Allied lines, but he succumbed to his wounds shortly after. The Red Baron was only 25 years old. The mystery surrounding his death, who fired the fatal shot, remains a topic of debate. While some attribute his death to Captain Arthur Roy Brown, a Canadian pilot, others believe that he was killed by Australian ground troops stationed nearby. Most historians now agree that it was likely ground fire that brought down the Red Baron. Regardless of who fired the shot, Richthofen's death marked the end of an era, and both his comrades and his enemies mourned the loss of such an exceptional pilot. What happened to his body and plane? Allied soldiers recovered Richthofen's body from the crash site and gave him a respectful burial. He was initially interred with full military honors by British forces in a cemetery near Amiens, France. In 1925, his body was repatriated to Germany, where he was reburied in the family's plot at the Sudfriedhof Cemetery in Wiesbaden. Parts of his iconic Red Fokker triplane were quickly taken as souvenirs by Allied soldiers, who kept fragments of it as mementos. Some pieces of his plane are still displayed in museums and collections around the world, providing a tangible link to the legend of the Red Baron. Legacy of the Red Baron. Manfred von Richthofen, famously known as the Red Baron, remains an iconic figure in military aviation and World War I history. His impressive 80 confirmed aerial victories and unmatched precision in dogfights made him a formidable force, and his distinct Red Fokker triplane symbolized terror for Allied pilots. Richthofen's disciplined approach to combat, influenced by his mentor Oswald Bolk, showcased an era when aerial warfare was both thrilling and perilous. He embodied the ideals of calculated bravery and strategic skill, earning respect from both comrades and foes. Even after his death in 1918 at just 25 years old, Richthofen's legacy continued to grow, transforming him into a legend. Museums and private collectors worldwide preserve fragments of his plane and memorabilia, connecting people to a time when air combat was new and terrifying. The Red Baron's story has inspired books, movies, and even video games, cementing his place as one of history's most famous fighter aces. Today, he represents the dawn of fighter aviation and the bravery of early pilots who pushed the limits of flight, leaving an indelible mark on both German and global military history. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the life of the Red Baron, subscribe for more historical